You're live. We are live, I think.
Hey, we're live on the live stream.
Ooh.
Hopefully.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome to the live stream. Bear with us this episode. Greg and I are not in the same room, so that's a new experience
We're
for us.
We're not even in the same house.
That's right. So tonight we are grateful to once again have Game Dave. Dave's your first name's Game or Dave?
Dealer's
Gamer
choice.
David.
Dealer's
Okay.
choice.
Right. It's on your birth certificate.
So it's actually Dave Thomas.
The founder of Wendy's.
That guy.
Whoa. Whoa.
And we've also got to my bottom. I don't know where he is in orientation for you. We've got Jesse
Your
DeStasio.
bottom.
Jesse DeStasio from from Toy Pizza, from Eerie Theory, from everything.
From the bottom.
I'm currently operating a dojo, but I do have to say I'm not licensed or registered as a business. It is not, by the letter of the law, a legal dojo, but it is a dojo.
Look, we've all found ourselves doing slightly different things. Our routines have been changed the last, month and a half. So that doesn't really surprise me in the least, honestly.
You do what you got to do.
I have 0 students, and that is, I'm going to blame Cuomo on that one for right now, but we'll see.
The greatest teachers in the history of thought and learning started with no students. So
I thought you were going to say we're Italian.
Oh.
Fair enough.
So you're at the bottom. The only way to go is up.
I'm very good at self-defense in terms of defending myself from myself.
Yeah,
I hope to be able to work with other people at some point to see if that translates. But I feel good, feel confident.
This Cuomo, is that a friend of yours? Who is that?
Friends of the family, as we say in my community.
Old Jerry Cuomo.
Nice.
We got a hello from Kansas. We got a hi from Belgium. That's Retro Geek Out.
Oh, Ed. I know Ed. Hi, Ed.
Welcome, Ed. I popped into Ed's chat the other day during his live stream.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Bill.
I just got a notification that we're live.
Oh, good. That probably means we're live.
Right on time.
Close.
So, I'm sorry. I was going to start the show.
No, go ahead.
Whoa.
So, Jesse, you're standing in front of this wall of stuff. Books, action figures. I don't know. I can't really make out everything. So do you want to just go item by item? Just grab the first item on the top and we'll start from there and we'll work our way down to the bottom.
Good morning from Glasgow, Scotland. Good morning from Perth, Australia.
You just grabbed a figure.
Just happened to grab these 2 Radic figures that happen to be available on my website, toygalaxytv.com. Total accident, but yeah, here they are. Glow in the dark.
Say that again?
So it's Radic. Where does the Radic come from? Is that short for radical?
No, he's a detective, and he's rad.
Oh,
I don't want to get you shadow banned, but
Radic Tracy.
I gotcha.
And those are at toypizza.com, you said?
I guess so, but again, that was just a random grab.
Sure. Understood.
Yeah.
Good morning from Sydney, Australia, Florida, Norway, Brooklyn, Pennsylvania.
Basically the world, Greg. They're
just
hello,
listen, guys.
hello.
Do me a favor. If anyone from Portugal signs on, cut the cord immediately.
Investors?
It's a long story. It may have something to do with my dojo currently having 0 enrollees. I don't want to get into it, but just take us offline.
Lincoln, England, right. Belgium.
Okay, so
Can you tell me what this live stream? It's just a live stream, man. Don't overthink it.
Tell me what this live stream.
So Jesse, Radic, I'm asking questions that I'm interested in. Let me know if the chat has about. But Jesse's been in the toy industry for 2-3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks. In between, it's somewhere in between almost 20 years and 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, I mean, we'll split it down the middle, say like 10 years, 15 years. I'm not good at math. I don't have my calculator. But you're an independent toy maker, toy designer.
Correct, sir.
But you got there after a stint in the actual toy industry, working for the major toy people and stuff, right? Mezco? Were you at Mezco?
I was at Mezco. I was the sales director at Mezco for a while. I worked at Play Along Toys / Art Asylum. I worked at Jazzwares back when Jazzwares wasn't a company that everybody liked. Who I really like. They are truly one of those success stories. You know, that the turnaround from the product they were making when I first started to where they are today with Fortnite is astounding. You know, it's something. And then I jumped over to the film industry. I worked for New Line Cinema, represented film, wore my licensing hat, and just basically took all of the Hollywood money and flushed it down the toilet by making toys. So
Yeah,
it all works out.
What when you were at New Line, do you recall which films you worked with, which properties?
Yes, so we were. I got there as Return of the King was, I think, going to DVD. So it was between theatrical and DVD. So there's still a bunch of product. That Toy Biz line went on for a very long time, even post Return of the King, and especially in the European territory. So we were sort of soft-ing The Hobbit at that time because it wasn't. They were moving right into pre-production on that, but it wasn't Peter Jackson, Guillermo del Toro, forgotten chapter.
Yeah.
So we sort of it wasn't a film yet, but that was what everybody wanted to talk about at every meeting. So we'd be like, "What about Rush Hour 3?" We had this wonderful film where Cedric the Entertainer plays a spy, and they just wanted to talk about Hobbit. So
Yeah. So you've seen that end of the toy industry, and you were able to take that knowledge and that experience and stuff, and then go out on your own and start building your own brand and your own toys. How did you feel when that first? Because you kickstarted your first line of toys, right? Knights of the Slice.
Correct.
Yeah, and that was going on like 5 years now.
5 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah, because I think you. Yeah, I think you kickstarted just before we started our channel, and you actually you had that line of figures out before we had even gotten into the game, and that's how I remember it. Like we didn't exist yet, and you had already started your line of figures.
Think of how successful we could have been if we had Toy Galaxy with the 100 subscribers, pushed to us. It would have been.
We could have brought like 3 or 4 more people to the table.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean it's. I don't know. I'm sort of. I keep myself so busy with it. I don't have a lot of opportunity to look back and take it in and sort of create it.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you relive. I'm gonna make you relive some of that right now.
Yeah, I mean it just feels like a scramble up a sheer cliff face every day. So it's like it's all kind of a blur, but it's really fantastic, and I'm lucky enough to have consistent customers. I have a Patreon where people are crazy and generous and really sit in the day-to-day minutia of toy design, making stuff. And, I'm fortunate. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and so you started with a Kickstarter.
We started with a Kickstarter. We were an early YouTube channel. We were, or I guess still are, a Frederator co-production. Frederator having produced Adventure Time, Brave Swear, a ton of great stuff. So we got to use their studios and their expertise. Nikki, my cohort on Toy Pizza, still is a Frederator employee, one of the best editors as well. And we were a YouTube channel, but I have always wanted to make toys. I'd always wanted to tell stories and share my characters. And Kickstarter was starting to gain a lot of momentum. There were a lot of successful toy projects, and I felt like there was of dubious quality or dubious promises to actually deliver product. And I knew I may not, gross as much money as those other Kickstarters, but I sure could deliver because I spent a lot of time in China. I spent time in the assembly line, gone to, all the open air markets. I've sampled the local delicacy. I've gotten that dry cough. We've all been there.
Yeah.
And so we just, we hopped into Kickstarter, and in retrospect, way too early. We did not have enough critical mass to sort of, to make it happen. But we just kind of like came in under the wire, barely, sort of fighting for every.
You got funded. You were funded, right? I mean, that was your first shot at it. That wasn't an attempt.
Well, but there is a dark secret to most Kickstarters in that our logic at the time was we should ask for less than we actually need, because if we succeed the goal early, the algorithm of Kickstarter serves you up more and more as a success story. You start going out into their emails, you show up in search, higher up. So we were kind of doing a calculated risk. Well, let's ask, for a goal we think we can succeed right away, and then we'll just kind of coast off of that. And the first part worked, and then it plateaued. And we're like, we're in trouble. Okay.
Yikes. But so there have been a lot of there have been a lot of action figure lines and companies and stuff that have turned to Kickstarter since then. I wasn't really, honestly, at that point, I wasn't paying attention to who was kickstarting what. It's been I've definitely been more aware of it since then, and I've watched Kickstarters succeed and fail. Unfortunately, I think when one fails, it hurts everybody. And I don't mean fails, doesn't get funded. I mean gets funded and doesn't deliver.
I think that's worse. That's a fate worse than death. And I don't know the particulars of other people's Kickstarter arrangements or their factory relationships or everything else, but I suspect that if the people behind these campaigns had simply gone to China in person, that a lot of the roadblocks that you hit in production can be averted. Maybe not today. I think traveling there is a little bit restricted, may not to get to, but I think that's like, that is a what's the term for a bullet that works well? Magic bullet? That's like a magic bullet that can solve 90% of the stuff that typically delays these campaigns or projects.
I think a bullet that works well is called the minimum requirements for a bullet.
Yeah, it's the bullet.
That's so succinct. It just rolls off the
But so you benefited from the fact that you could vertically integrate the whole thing into yourself. You had that knowledge. If I was going to start a Kickstarter today for an action figure line, I wouldn't know what to do. I wouldn't know who to talk to in China. I wouldn't know which factories to work with. I wouldn't know how to follow up. I would end up being one of these, Kickstarters where I promise the stars and I end up not funding anything because I don't know what I'm doing. I would definitely need to reach out to people who knew what they were doing. So do you feel like, you said you shot a little high, got funded, plateaued a bit, but did you feel, just in terms of experience as far as the production process was concerned, that you had the tools that you needed?
Yeah. Only because I had gone and done it for other people. I spent a lot of time over there on behalf of Jazzwares, out there for weeks at a time. So I think that's kind of like the crucial ingredient that you can't watch a YouTube video and understand. There's a lot of cultural differences in dealing with not only sort of mainland China folks, but also Hong Kong. There's some rivalry between the Mandarin and Cantonese, and it's like there's all this nuance to it that if I hadn't had that experience doing it for other people and being able to be out there on somebody else's dime, because it's huge cost. I definitely wouldn't have this sort of right toolbox delivers.
Right, and it seems like now the Kickstarters, the toy-related Kickstarters that tend to get funded, that tend to be successful, there are some connections between them as far as like people who are over there already or people who are going over. It seems to be the same factories that people are starting to rely on and be trust, being able to trust that they're going to be able to get that work done in a reasonable amount of time. And there's been some awful horror stories that I've seen with some of the more recent Kickstarters that, and we've talked about Kickstarter on the live stream here before, as far as how people approach Kickstarter as a contributor. A lot of people think it's just a pre-order system, and that's not what it is. You're an investor in a product, and that applies to anything, whether it's toys, if you're kickstarting a film, a documentary about science fiction, perhaps. Maybe it's called In Search of Tomorrow. I don't know. Was that subtle enough?
Very subtle.
All right,
very subtle.
But people think it's a pre-order.
Maybe there's a link to contribute to the In Search of Tomorrow Kickstarter.
Can I get
underneath.
You're on yes, right? Let me get a crawl right here.
In the description of.
If you pledged and want to cancel your pledge and then repledge through our affiliate link, I mean, I'm not going to stop you from doing that.
Some good subtle references. It's good.
Yeah. Our merch store is open, and if you want to, but
you got the need for speed.
Yeah, people treat Kickstarter like it's a pre-order system, and so I'm watching this McFarlane Kickstarter right now, and I'm reading the comments and the demands that people put on the people that are running the Kickstarter to say, I expect this, I want that, change this. Yeah. It's like what you're investing in is being a part of the process, right? And it's being able to follow this along and to help this product get to market. Did you feel like when you've run your Kickstarters, and you ran one as recently as last year, right? Your action figure.
We went private, but there's a good story behind it.
Okay, cool. Did you feel like you had people that were a little too excited, a little too trying to be too involved, or was that helpful for you?
All right, so three things I want to address here. Here are the bullet points. Todd McFarlane. I want to address people being passionate, and then why we sort of privately. I forgot all three of those.
All right, Todd McFarlane.
Okay. Passionate fan. I honestly think we have lucked out, and occasionally we get people that are too excitable. I think our hobbies in general attract people with neurological uniqueness. It's just part of it, Yeah. I think what we do is escapism, and we tend to draw people that are like myself, awkward or don't like going out, which is great now in this setting. But there's a wide variety of, and I'm saying this affectionately, weirdos in all of these hobbies. I think Knights of the Slice has gotten off incredibly easy because we have this very gentle old guard that really like helping new people find. We have good mods that sort of kick people to the sideline if they're out of whack. I've only ever had to ban people. Like, I've gotten off very easy. The McFarlane comments on the Kickstarter are wild. Like, I would not want to be a mod for that. By the way, I used to handle customer service and be a mod for Jazzwares during the Dark Age. And, I've dealt with fan bases that are sort of really toxic and, life threats on your life and X, Y, and Z over something as simple as accessory.
Yeah, and I'm not even referring necessarily to toxic fans or fans that are a little too overzealous. It's more the expectation on what you're going to deliver. It's like, when is this happening? The exact date, the exact thing, the package, whatever else. And it's like, you're going to see some behind the stuff here. Scenes, if this person running the Kickstarter, the administration here running the Kickstarter, is doing things right, you're going to see those prototype figures. You're going to see you're going to see factory design. That's part of the experience that hopefully you're coming along for the ride with. That's part of what you're buying into, is trying to help this product become a reality. And it's like, just go along, have some fun.
Yeah, I think it's probably twofold. It's that the idea of backing these things is a relatively new idea, where it is less than 10 years old. This idea of sort of crowdfunding, and so I think that people's consumer habits are not really necessarily well versed to that. They're used to Amazon one-day shipping and getting stuff instant. I think also part of that burden is on the creators and campaign runners. They need to sort of make it, a daily update. They need to just dive into the process of it a little bit better, because there are plenty of, campaigns that we've all backed where you get one email every 3 months and they're like, I'm not dead, but I'm still delayed.
Yeah, that's not the update I was looking for, dead or alive.
Yeah.
There's a
I
lot
also
of
wanna say-
there's a lot of YouTube videos dedicated to those Kickstarter campaigns and stuff like that.
Yeah. Awful Kickstarters and all that stuff. Yeah.
I also want to say, like, there's a small vocal minority online that are like furious at Todd McFarlane for going to Kickstarter and being so successful. And I think it's, first of all, kudos to him. He read the writing on the wall. He knows retail may not exist when we get on the other side of it. I mean, maybe Walmart and Target, what does the rest of the retail landscape look like? It's going to be smoldering ashes. So Todd, if nothing else, has always been a very good predictor at what's needed to sort of survive and become and just adapt. When he got into sports, that was like a big slap in the face to all the action figure fans. When he went after Halo, that was too big of a property. He shouldn't be. So throughout his career, with every step he's made, he always gets this contingent of trolls. And it's good that he's raised as much money. And as I think I said to you, I think this is just my speculation, but I think it's a dry run for him to crowdfund a Spawn film. And he's clearly got the.
Yeah, well, and he's unique among all of these toy companies where, he calls the shots,
Yeah.
Mr. Hasbro, he's got to answer to a lot of people as far as like what he can do. Todd McFarlane, he wakes up one day and goes, you know what? The whole thing's just Kickstarter from now on. That's what it is. He can make that call, and to have that kind of flexibility to, even if he just tried this out and was like, we didn't sell as many figures as we had hoped to, but we tried it out. We know it's not a viable, means for us, so we're not going to do it again. But, just in the time that I was able to talk to him at Toy Fair about it, he talked about being able to use Kickstarter to bring back lines that were long dead, long forgotten, that people dug, that he's not going to be able to sell 1 million units to Walmart, but he can sell, 5,000, 6,000. And it's like, how is any of that bad? I haven't understood this pushback against him. I don't get it.
I think it's, those who can do, those who complain. I'm sure I'm butchering.
Sure, yeah, whatever. You said there was a reason that you private funded Knights of the Slice?
Yes, so we had Kickstarter ready for Action Figure of the Month Club, which is our sort of monthly mailing. You get a surprise action figure mail. It was based on the idea of, did you guys ever like mail away for Boba Fett or Spirit of Obi-Wan or the refrigerator William Perry? You never clicked.
Yeah. Fruit Loops Han Solo or whatever.
Fruit Loops Han Solo. There you go. So I wanted to recreate that because that was the best part of my childhood, easily. Just waiting for the mailman. So I wanted.
It's the best part of my adult life now.
Okay, granted, yes. I would like to amend my statement. So I
He
wanted
has
to.
the food that'll keep me alive.
It's just you're just really good friends with the mailman. It has nothing to do with what he's delivering. Social interactions, the only.
We hang out, we play chess.
So I wanted to, instead of just kickstarting an action figure line, I was like, why don't I try to sell this concept of people just getting a shiny in the mail with a toy they have no idea what it is. And it took off. We had a great 2019 year. We shipped everything on time, complete anomaly for this type of business. And then we had our campaign set for the end of last year. You got to sort of, you got to do the campaign the year prior to shipping. And then Kickstarter got into a big labor dispute. Their workers were trying to unionize. And my dad's a retired police officer. My brother is an electrician's union. I was like, I'm not going to go make money on a platform and give them fee if, they're going to step on the neck of their workers. So I said, screw it. We'll find a sort of widget on Shopify and we're going to kneecap ourselves, but we'll do it privately. And we ended up just about reaching the exact same money people, even without the benefit of Kickstarter's search engine and their sort of promo emails and all that stuff. So it, it worked miraculously. And then a few days after our campaign closed, Kickstarter announced they're recognizing their union and all was well. No.
So you'll be set up for Kickstarter number 3.
Could be, but you know, I think that Action Figure of the Month Club is going to have to transmutate this next year. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work every 20 days. You know, there are a couple hundred packages I got to get out on top of Patreon gifts and normal store orders, which is another couple hundred, sometimes in a single week. So what might happen is I might take Action Figure of the Month Club and move it over to my Patreon, which allows people to sign up month in, month out. If they want to opt out, if they're tight on cash, they don't have to sort of commit to an entire year. And again, I might be kneecapping myself, but I just feel like, you know, I got to sort of like, I got to be like Todd, man. I just got to zig and zag and figure out what the right way to do it is.
Yeah, well, I think it's been very successful as far as doing exactly what you hoped it would do. You know, deliver a surprise thing every month, and keep your brand out there and refreshed and giving you something to promote. I've just been impressed with, you know, I don't know what your actual flow is as far as when the product is actually manufactured versus when it gets to your warehouse. Versus when you ship it. Like, you're not getting monthly shipments that you're then immediately turning around, right? Are you planning out a whole year?
Now that actually relates to a question in the chat from way back. Kunji Club said, how many prototype revisions did you have to go through on average before mass production for each figure?
I mean, it could be endless. If you have enough runway, you can keep changing things. And oftentimes, I wish I had more time. I think generally there's about, I mean, on a prototype, there's 50 different iterations of the character, if you're doing it right. At the production level, where you have a sort of first shot out of the steel tool, generally I try to keep it to 2 to 3 waves, because you know you're losing a couple weeks every time you revise something, and at a certain point I'm just like, I got to get this. But Dan, I feel like you had another question.
It was more about,
when do I order?
Yeah, the amount of product that, you know, how far ahead are you planning this stuff? You know, are you shipping April figures and then time receiving October figures, or are they just like, look, here's 12 months worth of figures and see you later?
So I sort of have a plan A and a plan B. I have like a doomsday plan wherein I never receive any new figures, and here's how I would complete it. And then as we, you know, as things improve in China and shipments are coming more regularly, I can kind of adjust and slot newer figures in more quickly. But Radic landed on a Monday, and I think I had him out to Action Figure of the Month Club by that Friday. So it can be pretty damn quick if, you know, the entire world stage is not sort of conspiring against you.
Yeah, right. And it is. Unfortunately.
Is something going on, or?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when was the last time you walked outside?
Well, I mean, to hang out with Jerry the mailman, like we discussed earlier.
Oh, your mailman's named Jerry too?
Yeah. Do we have the same? We must have the same mailman.
We might have the same mailman.
We might have the same mailman.
So, Jesse, any plans moving forward as far as like anything beyond Action Figure of the Month Club, or are you just looking to stick with that for now? Do you have anything you can tease us with?
Well, we have a long gestating project with Kit Lau of Acid Rain fame. Kit is a Hong Kong-based artist. He makes highly detailed and weathered futuristic military type figures. Really, like, I consider Kit to be one of the best toy designers in the world. Acid Rain coming on the stage about 10 years ago was a real paradigm shift. You see all this. Yeah, you got some right there? No. You see a lot of boutique companies popping up in Kit's wake to kind of capture some of that. I guess it's almost like a neo G.I. Joe. and Kit was a big, huge fan of Real American Hero, which was not easy to get over there at the time. But we have a long gestating project. It's going to be a science fiction cowboy. It's sort of a Easterner's take on a Western character, and we've been working on this probably close to 2 years now. And we are so close. We are millimeters away from being able to share something. It's very, very exciting.
So is that in the 4-inch scale, like the regular Acid Rain figures?
There's.
All right. If you can't say, you can't say.
No comment.
Because obviously,
look, I mean, there's a lot of different moving parts to this idea, this sort of space cowboy idea. The majority of releases are in the 4-inch scale. If that.
Gotcha.
Well, in the chat, we do have Magic the Gathering veteran did ask a very good question. When is the Dan Larson head showing up in Knights of the Slice? When is that happening?
I feel like we can just shrink down that Peter Parker or the Mr. Fantastic, right?
Yeah.
The Peter Parker used to be good, but the Mr. Fantastic is spot on.
Also, isn't there a dime store novel cowboy character that looks shockingly like you?
That I'm not sure. I do, when it comes to like superheroes and classic, old West heroes, most of them I kind of look like most of them anyway. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of options out there for strong-jawed, handsome,
I was going to say normal white guy.
Bloggers.
What you're saying is you're very replaceable.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Yeah, right.
Endlessly reproducible.
One of 2 billion. The serial number.
You have options. Beard, no beard, whatever. Part on the left, part on the right. Go wherever you want to go.
You're like a Nintendo Me.
The answer is we'll get right on that.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about stuff. We'll start talking about stuff for sure.
That's also that's what Weird Al says to any fan who suggests a song. He's always like, "I'll get right on that." I think that's true.
We say it's on the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have the your partnership with 1,000 Toys, and that this is technically 6-inch scale or 7-inch scale. 6, right?
They're 6-inch. Yeah.
How did that? Now is that an ongoing thing? Because you've obviously had more releases than just the 3 basic Knights, right? You've partnered with them on other figures.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope it'll be ongoing. I think that their factories are in China as well, to my knowledge, so they're sort of undergoing the same delays. I also, and this is just my speculation, I don't know for a fact, but I suspect that the massive success they've been having lately with like their Hellboy figure, Dante from Cry, their licensed stuff, I see it everywhere. Everybody's talking about it. It's very, everybody's sharing it because they are fantastic. I wouldn't be surprised if that is sort of more their focus as opposed to like these indie brands that, we're selling a fraction of the So,
well, I noticed that even on your Knights of the Slice, do you have like your basic red figure, like unique pieces, 5 because aren't a lot of the pieces from that reused from the Synth Human or no?
Yeah, so we have let's count.
I don't know.
This is where everybody turns around and gets something off of there. I don't know.
It's a special one.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah. I have the unpainted Jesse head.
So we got the slicer. That's 1 piece. The forearms are new, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like 8 unique pieces.
Okay, I was closer to being right than being wrong.
And can you guess where these are? With this first, it might shock you to learn. Toypizza.com.
Still available, still in stock.
Yeah. Also, I knocked over a good portion.
Yeah, those are fantastic figures, and I think if you, I think if anybody was looking to partner with a toy company to have their, I'm going to call it a vanity project. You can call it an original IP, whatever. Okay.
Yes.
And that would be a figure type, a form that most people would want to go with. It is by far one of the best action figures in terms of just posability.
Yeah, I channel demonetized with that.
What's that?
Yeah, look, we were punching above our weight by collaborating. There's no question. Like they did an enormous favor to a brand that meant nothing. You know, we're not even in the same league, not even in the parking lot of the same stadium as Thousand. So they really did us a huge solid. They brought in an entire wave of new customers, and it is largely because we went out for karaoke and I did such a good job singing.
What was the song that nailed it?
It was a song by a band called Electric Six. It's called Gay Bar. They found
good.
I love that album.
It's a great album, great band to see live, and
these are the things.
A language barrier, but music cuts right through.
Well, these are the things they don't teach you in business school, right?
Yeah.
There's a chapter on karaoke.
And I didn't have the benefit of the music video for that song, which features shirtless Abe Lincolns.
Yeah.
Easy.
So yeah, so this is your 1,000 Toys collab piece. So this is a 6-inch scale figure based on their synth human, right? That's the basic body style that it's based on. As opposed to all I've got back here, I don't remember the name of this one. This is your regular Knights of the Slice figure here, so you can see that those come in.
Classic Knight.
Yeah, and I put the translucent orange bits on the translucent figure. I don't even remember how this figure came initially.
You know what? We gotta get you one of these. This one is just a one-of-a-kind sample, but then we have the 8-inch Mega Knight.
Yeah, no, you need to get me a one-of-a-kind sample. Yeah, I think you need to send it.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite ones.
Whatever the size is that you feel your dog might like to chew up, we got you covered. We got 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, whatever you need.
Can I see a closer shot of that crotch piece there? I just want to get the detail on that yellow.
Don't get us demonetized.
No, not yours. Sorry, Jesse. The figure. It's very okay. That's all right.
We got a lot of crotches to choose from.
That's plenty. I got what I needed out of it.
So yeah, if Toy Galaxy was going to partner with Toy Pizza, I custom crotch, right? We can get our own crotch piece. Like that's one of the pieces I can request.
Yeah, you told me in private you wanted it taken in, so it's more accurate.
Oh. So those come 1-to-1 scale. That's good.
Radic was too girthy.
Wearable.
You wanted to be true to life.
Oh, hi, Levi. Said hi to us, Greg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. I thought this was going to be a quiet one for you and I.
It's all good. I need the chill time.
You don't get enough now?
Any reason to get away from the family?
David of the Game. May. Are you a fan of Shakan the Forever Man? Have you ever played that game?
Yeah, a little bit. It's okay. It's all right. I know people are fans, but you know.
It is prophesized that Shakan the Forever Man was Dark Souls before Dark Souls. The difficulty level is very extreme.
That's true, because that even predates King's Field, which was From Software's, pre Dark Souls. The King's Field, now that's dark. I can go back to Demon's Souls, but it's hard to go back to King's Field and
what do you even play with?
Not lose it.
Did you get an emulator for it?
Well, you can play King's Field on the original PlayStation, which is good.
I've never even heard of that game.
Yeah, it's like a first-person stabby game.
Yeah.
Which, this motion and first-person shooter, it doesn't really go together all that well.
With a nice medieval feel to it. It's always good. Kind of like a D&D. I mean, not to bring that up again, but sort of a, that feel.
Again with D&D.
Did you get your gelatinous cube, Dan?
I had my inside man has, so I'm a little disappointed. Yeah.
Oh, I see a question in the chat. Is there a Shikon the Forever Man action figure? That's so weird. Yeah.
It was all part of the plan. He's building it out.
It's a glow-in-the-dark version. Actually, I don't have any of these in stock, so I shouldn't.
Yeah, don't hype that up. Don't hype that up.
But no, he does exist. This was a love letter, passion project. I loved Shikana as a kid. I was terrified of it. It was like the first sort of like PG-13 game I played.
So were you a Sega boy then? You were on the Sega side?
So I had Nintendo, and my juvenile delinquent older brother had Sega.
Why is it always that way? The juvenile delinquent neighbor had the Genesis, and I had the Nintendo system.
I wasn't a juvenile delinquent. I had the Genesis and a Sega Master System.
See, here's the thing, Greg. They don't know when they're the juvenile delinquents. So
I wasn't a juvenile delinquent.
That's what they all say. Okay, Greg? Okay.
I wasn't.
What was your favorite Genesis game, Greg? I haven't heard of that one.
Probably. I mean, the one I played the most was Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Okay. Classic. That's good.
And Road Rash.
Road Rash.
I loved Road Rash.
Holy shit. That's a very, you know who was a big fan of that was Juvenile Delinquents, because you're beating up fellow racers with pipes.
We played all the Madden games.
Okay. See, I always like Sonic Spinball, the pinball Sonic.
I'm a sports ball guy.
Big sports guy, yeah. Big Madden fan. Joe Montana is a big fan of him.
That's two different people.
Oh,
I did play Joe Montana football. I didn't like it.
No? I like Nolan Ryan's baseball on the Super Nintendo. I was a big fan of that one. It's a good one. Yeah.
Played a lot of Jurassic Park and Mortal Kombat on Sega.
Okay, now what is your favorite Mortal Kombat game then, Dan?
I would say 1, but that generation of systems, none of the Mortal Kombat 1 ports were very good because the system just wasn't there yet. So when 2 hit Genesis, 2 was pretty good on Genesis, and then each one that came out after that got a little bit better with character selection and the quality of the actual port and playability and all that stuff.
Definitely, yeah. Two is a favorite of mine for sure. I just like the style of 2 because it kept the sort of, it still had that Orient feel and that Asian influence. And then when you get into 3/Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, it has that weird sort of industrial, futuristic feel, and it kind of lost like the origins a little bit. Even though I like the ridiculous character selection in Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. 2.
Yeah, for me, there was always that charm. Mortal Kombat, there was always that charm, and it kind of, I'm going to compare it to Star Wars as well. I liked it when it felt gritty and homemade and simple. The designs were simple. Like when Sub-Zero and Scorpion are made out of just, karate outfits with a mask and some hockey pads or whatever, like that's the design I really like the most. When they start getting into like the games now, and fine, I sound like an old person, whatever. Like the designs on these
they do. The Scorpion does. It is over the top ridiculous. Just what Scorpion's outfit looks like, to the point where yellow is barely part of his color scheme in like the new games. It's like you see like tinges of gold in some of the intricate ridiculousness. It's that thing of you could never figure out how to put modern Scorpion's outfit on because it looks so complicated. But like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, even 3, I could figure that out. Yeah. I mean, you did in your episode.
I brought my favorite Sega Master System game.
Zillion. Look at you. Whoa, next level. See, mine.
You're gonna get that
That's a calculator
license?
Yeah, there you go. Make some figures for that. Mine would actually be Crash Dummies, because one of the best Crash Dummies games was exclusive to the European version of the Master System. So it's a PAL exclusive. It's a really good Crash Dummies game. Not to bring that up again. Future collab, wink wink.
Oh yeah, no, without
Crash
a doubt.
Dummies.
Without a doubt.
Incredible. How many exploding toys have you made, Jesse? That's what I want to know.
I mean, any toy is explodable with the caliber.
How many built-in, so you can re-explode them? Multiple explosion.
We're still working on that one with the lab guys.
Okay.
Jesse, I know that did you work at Toy Biz at one point? Were you involved at Toy Biz?
No, I was a refugee at Jesse Falcon's apartment when I first moved to New York
That's
City.
what I'm thinking of.
I slept above his living room, and I applied to Toy Biz many, many times. Never got any job there at all. Yeah, Falcon. You know, one, I don't think people realize what a enormous impact that guy has had on everything. You know, I look at like the monumental things in action figures and sort of valleys, and there's like, you know, Todd and Todd Toys, McFarlane Toys, Jesse Falcon and Marvel Legends, and then Kit Lau, and then I guess Toy Galaxy.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, like his fingerprint is on everything. There were not Western toy companies doing the level of articulation that is now standard in everything. You know, until Jesse really like brought that over and made it part of the.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, in that respect, having had the history, you know, the toy industry that you've had, and being a part of it on the manufacturing end, is there anything coming out of mainstream Western toy companies that you are collecting, interested in, following?
Yeah, I think, like 5 or 10 years ago, I was very snobby about my toy collection. Now I just love all of it. You have to make it a really terrible toy for me to find something egregious pleasure. I'm not a 6-inch action figure guy, and I bought so many of, the Star Wars Black Series, the Star Wars, not Star Wars, but Black Series, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Mezco, like the 6 and 7-inch scale figures, so good now. Even NECA and their 7-inch, Aliens, Super 7 and their He-Man figures, like, I know there are people that really look down on mass market toys and things like that, but it's like there's never been a greater time to be alive as a toy fan. And these things are relatively available, like, I have a hard time being bummed out by the efforts of. It's great.
Yeah.
They do something different.
Yeah, and that's I think in the conversations that you and I have had, that's where I think it's for me. It's not so much. Yes, it's about brand, and obviously you can go back through our videos and say, well, obviously you're into Boba Fett and Superman and Matt Tracker and those standards, Gundam. But at the end of the day, it's just about action figures and good action figures, and I want to see good stuff. And it's easy to bounce around and see what is Super 7 doing with articulation, what is Mezco doing with articulation, what sort of innovations are occurring, what sort of things that when you were a kid you could have only dreamed about, like bicep swivel and rubber band torsos. Like that was the height of the articulation in the industry, and to have so many different options now and to see so many different kinds of action figures out there. It's easy to get pigeonholed for budget purposes, but it's just a lot of fun right now to have so many different players doing so many different things in the industry at the same time, I think.
And I think also, like, timeline wise, and you pointed this out, there was a period of over engineering it. You always point to like articulate fingers. I'm right there with you. We've kind of gotten rid of that baggage now. If you look at like Black Series stuff, it's sculpted hands and usually multiple hands, and that does the job really well. So we collectively like went too far and then scaled it back, and where things have been in the last 5 years is a really great medium. I mean, I would say that the Black Series figures I prefer over their much more expensive Japanese parts like Figure Arts or Figma, and that's saying a lot because usually we're taking the notes from Japan and playing catch up. But I think that that and Mezco and Super 7, their 6 and 7-inch figures, I think it's never been better, and it is a sort of almost perfect form. I don't know how much more improvement.
Yeah. Well, and I think that Hasbro has borrowed enough and taken enough direction from what's working in those $70-$80 figures every year and said, what can we apply to our figures, go up in price to a substantial amount? I mean, to be delivering the kind of articulation, the kinds of, photorealistic face printing and all that kind of stuff, and still be at that $20 to $22 price point, I think is pretty impressive considering where the line has been and how bad some of it got there. I don't know if there was a course correction at some point, but it seemed like just before face printing started, things were getting kind of rough.
Yeah, and I think I see good examples of that sort of face tampo printing, and really bad examples. I think that's one frontier where they're kind of still trying to figure it out. But I think theoretically, if the world still exists, you could keep making the same style figure for the next 5 to 10 years, and I don't know that you need to sort of push the envelope anymore. We got working holsters, like that's something that has always been vexing. We have great articulation. We have pretty seamless joints. It's, a good time.
Yeah, it's that fear of over-innovation now. Don't need to over-innovate. You've hit the peak. Let's just plateau for a while.
Yeah, just coast on this, guys. Good.
Yeah. Anything in the chat? I never figured out how to bring the chat up. And I don't want to sit here with my phone.
Menu?
What?
They're asking for the tip menu. They want to know what tokens get what service.
I don't know what that means.
He's making a joke. It's a joke.
Sure he doesn't.
Blindsided you with a little bit of comedy there, Dan.
I'm ready for that.
Dan is not familiar with the internet.
Yeah, no, I take the show very seriously. I focus on one thing in my own camera.
Less innovation.
That's right.
I mean, bringing up figure arts. Every time I hear figure arts, I think about the Stay Puffed figure that they did and how I don't have it.
I don't know if Figure Arts did one. Did Figure Arts do one?
I'm pretty sure. If only I had access to a wealth of information on some sort of interconnected
An oracle.
Dan doesn't know anything about the internet.
network. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I'm not crazy. There was a Figure Arts Stay Puffed, and it is as amazing as I recall the last time I realized I didn't own it.
That's probably my fault for not really being that interested in Ghostbusters. So
Whoa.
It's on me.
Ease it up. Ease it up. Okay, I got proton packs right there. I don't know how much it was, but it probably goes for 80 now, I would imagine.
That's like original manufacturer's suggested retail price.
So that sounds okay. Well, that's not too bad then. Well, I need to just get it.
That actually sounds cheap to me.
I just wish she was big. She was a big.
Buy now before it goes up. I'm surprised. I didn't know Figure Arts did any Ghostbusters stuff. I thought that was strictly a Mattel domestic product.
I think that's the only figure they did.
That's a weird choice.
I would bet on that. I know that the new Hasbro stuff is starting to ship now. Are you interested in those, Dave?
Yes, I pre-ordered those. All of them.
All of them.
What is it called? The Plasma series?
Why does everything got to have a series name? The Lightning Collection, the Plasma series?
Right.
Yeah.
The Sex Kittens, all those different names. Is that not one of them?
That's not a line I'm liking.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I think, because I believe this set, I think each figure comes with part of a terror dog. I think that's the big,
that's correct.
Put that together. Yeah, so I did pre-order those. I also pre-ordered the Ghostbusters Afterlife, replica Spangler wand that's going to be coming out. 2 of those were pre-ordered. Had to be done because you got to have one to open and mess with if I want to fiddle with it, and then the backup in case they disappear. Like it was the Mattel, right, that put out all the replica props that you can't get cheaply.
I don't know. I've never really been a Ghostbusters guy. So.
Again, what is your problem, Dan? Goodness. Name a movie you do like, geez, that isn't Star Wars or
Top Gun.
Superheroes. Oh, is that what that's referencing?
Come on, man.
Thought it was that Star Heroes or something.
Honestly, as far as Top Gun goes, it's like I like it, but it's not really like my favorite movie or anything.
Well, let's do it. Let's be that generic live stream. Top 3 movies go around the quad.
Oh,
I would
jeez.
say Sallow, definitely. 10 Days in Sodom. Irreversible, Gaspar Noé. And then Happy George Miller.
No Koyaanisqatsi, Jesse. Come on.
It doesn't crack the top 10. Sorry.
Whenever these conversations come up, I'm always like, come back to me. Come back, do me last. It's like I'm the person at the meal that doesn't want to order first. I'm like, I'm still looking at the menu.
It's a hard thing to commit to. It's that thing of
absolutely, especially on the internet.
Yeah, because then you're like, well, you said
right
that was your number 2.
It's more because they just keep making movies, and you're like, would you stop and let me catch up? Like, there's so many I haven't seen yet.
I don't know. I don't think I have any favorites in the top 10. I don't think my top 10 has a movie after the 2000s. I don't think.
Boy.
Very unlikely.
Oh, boy.
Very unlikely. Old
Oh,
soul.
boy.
Old soul.
What are yours, Dave?
Well, it's my top 3. If I were
Sure.
to do the top 3, I mean, again, in no order. Beetlejuice is up there. Back to the Future, and of course, Ghostbusters. And then Jackie Chan tries to peek in every once in a while.
Right, sure.
But it's that thing of, I like Jackie Chan movies for a very different reason. Like, I'm not watching them and like, oh, it hit me in a different way. It's like, no,
Yeah.
it's a different experience when you're watching, the crazy stunts and all that. I do like Jackie Chan. That's not just there because. But yeah. But it's that thing of, I say those are the 3 because they are the most familial to me in the sense of, the fandom and like where I've gone the deepest into them, to where I get upset about things relevant to those franchises. Like that's when I think that my favoritism comes out. It's like, I got to put those 3 up there and I love the fact that Beetlejuice has stayed its own thing still for the most part. I mean, aside
They've tried, man. They've tried.
They've tried, but I like that they haven't gotten there. Similar with Back to the Future, but Back to the Future has that thing of there's all the comics and there's, they did do the game, which is considered sort of a continuation. I don't know if that's officially canon or not, but it's that weird thing of understanding canon. Say it again. What?
I said, is it canon? I don't know. I never played the game.
I don't know. But it takes
I've
place.
I've never really been a Back to the Future guy.
So what we've learned here is that basically Greg and I don't like any of the same things. Dan and I don't like any of the same things. Jesse, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm with the majority here. Sorry.
Well,
See, look, I've seen Back to the Future. I've seen Ghostbusters. I've seen all the movies.
I've
seen a lot more movies. Yeah, and I love them too. I just, as far as like being, like if it's on TV, yeah, I'll watch it. See, here's my movie viewing, and I know this makes Greg crazy.
Okay.
Movies I usually just put on is like, oh, I'm flipping channels and I need something on in the background, so it goes on. Very rarely will I ever grab a movie and say, it is time to sit and watch this movie. Watch that movie. That never, ever happens. Unless it's a brand new movie. Like last night, my wife and I watched Onward from the Disney studios. That was really good. But, before that, what was the last thing I watched? Probably something else animated. I don't know.
Trolls World Tour.
That's right. Trolls. Thanks.
Oh, good.
Which, by the way, guys, that may end up winning an Academy Award because it's one of the few theatrical releases. So,
well, yeah, I mean, as far as the animated movies go, I think only 2 made it into a theater where they would qualify so far, and that's Trolls World Tour and Onward.
Well,
I don't think there are any other animated movies that were released this year before the shutdown that would qualify.
So basically, I'm going to have to call Pixel Dan after this, and we'll have to talk about. At least he's excited about the Back to the Future Playmobil stuff. So I'll call Pixel Dan, and we'll talk about all the things we love in our own bubble.
Now, if you want to talk about the Playmobil stuff is actually pretty cool.
Oh, now he wants to talk about Ghostbusters and Back to the Future. You probably prefer the Scooby-Doo van or something. What do you have any of the Playmobil stuff?
We did get a question from Andrew Burton.
Ooh, let's do it.
For Jesse, what made you choose to make the Knights compatible with Glyos?
So I had known Matt Dowdy for a long time. Before he started manufacturing, he approached me at one of the first Comic-Cons I went. He had just all these, I think he was making figures out of urethane garage. Had them all in his cargo shorts. He had many pockets. Each pocket had a different figure of his own creation. So he was like showing you, if you've ever met Matt, he's a towering, scary looking. He's like but he is the sweetest, most gentlest, like articulate person. And so he was showing me all these figures, and do you know Henry Darger, that sort of recluse janitor that they cleaned out his apartment and they found scores of wonderful art that he'd been doing his entire life. It's a lot like, it's strong Henry Darger off of seeing these figures. And we just kind of kept in touch over the years and managed to make it a reality, really without any help. Knights of the Slice was by YouTube and a Kickstarter and all that stuff. He built Glyos from scratch, with no outside capital, no, like, truly, like, a success story.
Now, for those, just a quick clarification here, Jesse. For those who don't know what Glyos is basically just the system of articulation, the interchangeable parts, right? It is the dimensions of those ports and the shape of those ports.
Correct. And there's about 15 to 20 different toy lines that utilize the Glyos pegs and ports. And so all these wonderful independent toy lines work together, swap parts, and have a bunch of play. It's kind of like the MCU before that. So we had just kept in touch. The Knights were originally not going to be Glyos compatible. They were not marketed as that in Spain. And I hit a snag with the factory I was working with. And Dowdy swooped in and he's like, just let me take it to my people. We'll add the Glyos pegs, make it a smaller project. I was trying to go big and get it into retail and everything else. He said, just make it small, work on building, 100 solid customers. And he was 100. So, I guess it was always in contention. There was always a possibility that it was going to go Glyos, but it was not a sort of set thing until very late after the Kickstarter prior to.
Huh. Interesting. I did not know that. Good question. Good question from chat.
That's it. I mean,
if anybody wants to learn more, you can go to onelldesign.com site. He has sort of infrequent drops, but I think there might be some product. And from Onell Design, you can find a list of all the other Glyos. There's really, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, these are toys these are your favorite toys you never knew, because it's all a love letter to that era, those 2 decades.
Well, there's certainly a lot of homage going there. A lot of not necessarily direct licensing, but a lot of winks and nods and Easter eggs and all that kind of stuff, for sure.
Greg, can you read that question with the name, please? Nice and loud.
Aaron Nicewanger said, have you bought the Leonard Top Gun toys, Dan?
Have I?
Yeah. Aren't they on your Instagram?
Hey. They're over there, yes.
I thought you were going to stand up and pull them out of your pockets. Actually,
no, it's a whole big box.
I'm looking at them on the other side of the room, but it would take me at least.
Did you break quarantine to get them, or was it .com?
How dare you break quarantine?
I was fully masked up.
Yeah, boy. You're wearing the hazmat suit from Back to the Future, your favorite film. Cracker Jack Frost asked me, do you have any Jackie Chan action figures? And I'm gonna also disappear and see if I can find any. I'll be back with the same amount of clothes on with an answer.
So spoiler alert for those. I know the movie's back, but the bad guy here in the movie, it's Free Bogart. His name is Bogey here. So I don't know if that's been in any of the. I don't know if that's been in any of the materials, but so yeah. Anyway, here's the thing with these. This was like less than $20. And it's one of the cheapest things that is out there, right? Like the quantity you get for $20. Hang on, it's got lights and sounds. So you got two different airplanes. You got the two figures, same figure. They're just slightly different painted. A little disappointing that they both have parachute hoops on their shoulders. I don't know if they came with parachutes because I haven't opened it yet, and I don't know if I'm going to. I have really expensive figures that I've purchased or been gifted or whatever, and I'm like, I'm opening it, I'm throwing the box away, forget that. But the presentation on this thing and that it exists as a Top Gun set of action figures and airplanes and stuff, I'm like, I don't want to open it. I don't want to take it apart. But then it's $20, so I'm like, I can do this and buy another one and keep it in the box, because as far as the next collector is concerned, I don't know if there is one. I'm not really worried about them.
Oh, see, that's my problem. I got the Play Arts Final Fantasy figures, which are way overpriced, maybe. I don't know anything about what they should be priced at, but I have that issue. It's like, I don't want to open them. I wish I could buy a second one.
How can you? Yeah, but you can't see them. It's a cardboard box.
Well, that's just because I just haven't even opened the shipping box yet. I haven't even gotten
I thought that's because they're polygons. I thought that
they are. It's true. You can't actually. They're not very tangible.
So props to Lannard. This, to my knowledge, is their third big license. I think they did Rampage. They've done Aliens, and now Top Gun. I don't know if they've actually picked up any other big licenses.
Jumanji.
Oh, Jumanji. That's right. That's right.
And King Kong, Skull Island.
That's right. Okay, so a couple more.
By the way, the actor characters from that line go for insane money on the secondary market. Tom Hiddleston, Samuel L. Jackson, and really hard to come by.
Yeah. So back to Top Gun.
Did you get any Jackie Chan action figures, Dave?
Oh, well, to go back to Cracker Jack Frost's question, who said, how many points of articulation does the cardboard box have? It's a good question. I did find the only two I own, which are Dragon Lord action figure. Which is basically, I mean, really, to me, it's Drunken Master. And then we've got the Jackie Chan action figure from My Story. That's right? You gotta have it. You gotta have it. I'm sure Dan's got a couple of these lying around. Probably under his stacks of Beetlejuice.
Haven't you seen them in the background of a couple of the videos?
Ghostbusters VHS tapes.
I think they have bendable fingers too. There's like inner wires and stuff.
So they can do he can give the bird, right?
Oh, the bird.
The bird.
Be inverted over.
I don't know if you know this, but Dan is 75 years old.
Yes, please watch your mouth, Dan. The bird.
The bird.
That language. I mean, this is going to get demonetized.
They can work on international relations.
Dave, what about that box behind you? What about that thing behind you that looks like an action figure? What is that?
So if you
I have some more thoughts on this I'd like to share, by the way.
Well, go ahead, and then we'll talk about that.
So the good thing about this is that if you can see here, not only does it come with trading cards, like we're back in the 90s, awesome,
good,
but they actually went through the trouble of printing the bad guy symbol, the Russian MiG symbol on his head, and it actually has the little Maverick design on his helmet there, which is after since 1985, that first movie came out. It's awesome to finally have some Top Gun action figures.
It's very cool.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It's good. I mean, you did, but it's fine. As long as Greg starts it, it doesn't bother me. Speaking of trading cards, though, I do have the original 89 Batman trading cards sealed in the limited edition box.
I've never really been a Batman guy. I don't know.
Sounds like, man, you gotta stop repeating that record, Dan.
We
And
lost
Jesse, it's been
Jesse.
fun. Sorry to reference those.
Toypizza.com.
Sorry that we keep referencing those movies that aren't indie enough. Oh, we might be reconnecting. Let's see.
So if you'd asked me what my favorite movies were 20 years ago, I would have said Star Wars for sure. I would have said Star Wars 1, Star Wars 2, Star Wars 3. Back when they were known as, when you could just say Star Wars and everybody knew what movie.
Yeah, it wasn't confusing.
Yeah. So
he's in the exact same position as when he left.
he had to teach a very, very quick martial arts lesson.
I was just attacked. I dispatched them handily. I wish I had footage. It was it was poetry in motion. I'm happy to say my teachings, they work in the real world.
That's good. Chris said, Dave, are those the FF7 remake play arts? Kai, yes, that's the Cloud and Hardy Daytona motorcycle that came with the first class edition, aka the overpriced edition of Final Fantasy VII Remake that I purchased, which was guaranteed. They're like, you know what, we know there's the pandemic, but we're going to make sure that you get your Square Enix store orders by April 10th. Don't you worry. I was like, okay, good. I'll get the first class edition, pay that money, because Amazon was like, oh, April 20th you'll get it. And that came 5 days late. So worked out great. The Amazon one showed up first. So
that's a good pandemic guarantee as you're going to get.
You know what? I'll take it. I've been enjoying it. I haven't gotten into there because I actually have the 1997 Cloud and motorcycle statue that was released. So I thought it'd be cool to compare the two, even though this is more of a figure, whereas that's a statue. But just to kind of see the detail, it's almost like this figure is more detailed than the statue from 1997. It'll be interesting to compare their faces too, because very different interpretation. Obviously, going more realistic, human proportions with these figures. So,
Have you played the remake?
I'm about, I'd say 35% of the way through the game. Whenever I get a chance, when I'm not crossing with animals. I mean, am I right, Greg? Am I right? Animal Crossing. I heard the sound effects. I knew she was playing it. When I'm not doing that, it's been FF7 Remake, and I am, I don't want to make it a gaming live stream because there's so much to say. We'll save it for the video. The arcade video came out that I teased in the last guest appearance.
I loved the arcade video.
Thank you.
Great video.
My pain of stripping that stupid Mortal Kombat cabinet. Oh my sweet lord. It's horrible.
So Ghost Target 5953 said, ask Jesse about his expensive mountain action figure.
Oh yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay.
It sounds like it means something else.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a dark side to having fans, right? Because they can push you to do things that you would not normally do if you're of sound mind and sound body. Sometimes you want to make them happy, and so I bought a very peculiar action. It is from the Action Man line, which was G.I. Joe over in Europe and the rest of the 12-inch figure. There is a piece of a mountain that is on a blister, and the pictures were very vague. It's a mountain. It's a mountain accessory. We don't really know what it does, what the purpose is. This was at some point hanging on store shelves. I feel like Dave's digging for it right now. He actually has it. So I shared. I was like, guys, this is one of the most bizarre eBay listings I've ever. Check this out. And it's just head-scratchingly bizarre. We don't understand.
It's just a carded mountain?
It's a carded piece of a mountain. And it was like $70 plus $25 shipping. And everyone on Patreon were like, you have to buy this. You have to buy it, get it, and review it. And, I caved. I want to make them happy. I want to get those likes and those hearts. And so I did. It's the dumbest purchase I've ever made. And now we're waiting. It's going to take 25 days to get here from Bulgaria. And I just have no idea what this is. I couldn't find any like other listings for it or like a Action Man database that had this in there. So I'm as perplexed as you guys. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's coming, but we're gonna find out.
Mountain.
But you're certain that it's a legitimate thing, that it was an actual manufactured.
Yeah, the card and the the verbiage, everything looked. I don't think it's like a bootleg product. I think it was part of the Action over in Europe, but what dark secrets are under that listing? I do not know.
It's actually just a piece of a mountain.
Is this
Yeah,
like those? Is this like the souvenir Berlin Wall chunk?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking.
It's like going on a 6th grade field trip and you had to buy the geode at the gift shop, sort of thing.
You got a moon rock.
Yeah,
It also weighs 55 pounds.
Is the idea that you buy a whole bunch of them and then put them together to make a whole mountain?
I don't know. Like, I guess it's
Collect them all.
play
Yeah,
set.
collect the mountain
It's a-
set?
It's a playset, but it's on a blister card that's 9x12 or something. I'm terribly vexed by this whole.
It's good. I was just bending down to open up our Jackie
Oh my god,
Chan.
you opened it?
I know. Somebody did ask if I was an opener. It depends on how easy it is to get back in and look like I didn't. So the answer is sometimes. It's always fun when they have giant zippers because they don't want to scale the zipper down. It's something that always annoys me, especially with there was this is for you, Dan. You'll get a lot out. You'll appreciate this. There was a Ghostbusters release where they had the flight suits with full workable zippers because they had the cloth flight suits, and there's gigantic. They were like just normal size zippers on these why is it that hard to it's tough? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Inform me about zippers.
There's
I think it's the difference between new tooling and sort of something open market.
Okay.
You're gonna.
I think the bigger question is there any way Dan and I can set up a green screen behind him and drop in a shelf and then get him a costume that has an oversized zipper to sell the illusion that he's a tiny little Dan sitting on a shelf with a big zipper on the front of his sweatshirt.
Needs to happen.
Like
It's got to be about this big, right? The zipper the size of a loaf of bread.
It would be pretty big. I mean, this isn't so crazy that it's like ridiculous, but it's
Can you match
definitely.
the pose behind you?
I don't know. I don't trust. I don't trust it. He's probably not a one and action. All right, it's good that he comes with that. It's not going to happen. He's about size to the Game Dave action figure though, so that's good. He's about the same scale. Will it happen? Let's see. Oof, I don't know. I don't know, Greg. This is a dangerous game. It's a good thing I have 2 of these. There we go.
There it is. There it is.
And then we'll
This is the YouTube algorithm just lit up.
Whoa. My Instagram exploded right now. That's
Can I
what
put can I put the tags in the stream description?
Oh, let me get you the thumbnail.
Figure balancing.
You got that? Did you snap that? Screenshot that. That's good. All right, we'll see how long he lasts. Hopefully there's no rogue wins because he'll probably be going down. That's not bad. I'm pretty happy with that, actually. That's good.
Someone said they'd print out a giant zipper on a 3D printer and send it to us.
Sweet.
Oh, good.
Oh, Matt S. asked another question. Dave, if you're dropping money on Collector's Edition Final Fantasy VII Remake and Play Arts figures, just the Cloud and Hardy Daytona so far, do you have those Suikoden statuettes? Oh, yes, I do. Of course. Of course. That's my favorite. It's my favorite game. So, which would mean Dan would never, not even top 30.
I don't even know what Suikoden is. I'm
It's
sorry.
good.
man.
It's good. It's all good. It's all good. You have
Is
to
it a
watch.
car-
You have to watch the channel to know.
Is it a car game? Is it driving?
No.
I don't
Yeah.
really like driving games.
Yeah, it's
that much.
It's a Gran Turismo game.
Okay. Well, I know that game. That's the one with the race cars.
That's the one with those with the four wheels on there.
Remember that time that I said that Dan was a 75-year-old man?
That's why we love him.
This Gran Turismo, that's the game where the
it's down.
Oh no, Jackie. The programmers and developers and stuff had to sleep on the floor underneath their desks just to make sure that they could get the shine on the cars just right.
They wanted it to be so ridiculous. And I always hated Gran Turismo because I like to see the damage. Like if I hit another car, I want to know I did it, you know?
Yeah.
And that's
car games
through me.
Car games, I feel like if you don't have the steering wheel and the the shifter and the pedals and stuff, it just doesn't matter. The experience just doesn't work. Like as far as a racing game is concerned, it's like, okay, the difference between this car and this car is your joystick, your thumbstick doesn't work as well, you know?
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. I like arcadey racing games. You know, I was a Mario Kart guy. Or there was a game on the PlayStation 3 called Blur, which was basically as close as we got to if Gran Turismo was Mario Kart, because it was real cars, crazy damage, there were power-ups, it was a nice blend, and that series kind of died out after that. But I do finally have a racing cockpit with the wheel and shifter, which is an experience.
If you're going to spend time playing a driving game, you want to be able to shoot banana.
Right, exactly. And not just in racing games.
I thought it was very bizarre that the film adaptation of Clint Eastwood saying Asian slurs. I haven't played the game, but it seems like there's, they took liberty. Oh, Gran Torino. Sorry, never mind.
It's close. It was close.
Dan, we got a very important question in chat from Stu Adams. He said, "What you doing?"
I'm doing this.
What you doing? As Cracker Jack Frost said,
P followed by 4 H's. I don't know what that means.
That's Stu Adams. Stick around. Guest soon on the show.
Oh, he's played Blur. He said Blur was my jam.
Yeah, song 2.
So good.
Track.
So good. And he can't. Songs.
Jason Skywalker said, Jesse, will a space cowboy version of Rex Gannon be a thing with the new line you are working on? None of that means anything to me. Maybe it means something to you.
No comment.
Ooh.
No comment.
No teases?
If I was the only person in the project, it would all be out there by now. You got to respect your unindicted co-conspirators, as they say.
A no comment's as good as a yes, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to go ahead and start tweeting that
I'm
out.
going to put that in the newsletter.
Where are you guys getting your adrenochrome now that everything's shut down?
I don't know what that is.
You got your own source? Okay.
I know Greg's over there showing off with Smart Water. I'm rocking the PepsiCo Aquafina. I can't.
This isn't Smart Water.
Oh, slick. Man, branding. That's just tap, baby.
We got a question. Late to the stream, sorry if this was asked. If you guys could follow in Jesse's footsteps and start your own toy line, what would it be?
Oh my God, that's a good question.
For me, you know what? It would probably just draw on Jesse, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but as far as I can see with Knights of the Slice and your entire run of action figures, a lot of this stuff, a lot of the ideas for the character designs and the storylines and stuff have been pulled from your childhood, teenage drawings and sketchbooks and those types of things. I know that I and my friends in high school spent a lot of time, coming up with characters and talking about all these, stories and epic tales that we wanted to tell someday. And so, yeah, exactly. So this is.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
I didn't start on page 1 because this is copyright infringement, but yeah,
I don't know if we can
you're
show
100%
that.
right. These are the majority of the figures that are out there are all designs I've had for 20 or 30 years.
Wow.
Going back a very long time.
Yeah,
Dan, that would be your pick.
Yeah, so I have my file cabinet over here full of
nice.
character designs and stuff, and that's probably where I would go. That's probably what I would tap to come up with designs for an action figure line. That's one thing I've really enjoyed following with your development of this line, Jesse, is coming up with different character designs.
Nice.
And being able to recycle that stuff that you've been, that's been dear to you for a long time, and finding a way to bring all of that together, tell a story, and advance this stuff without having to worry about drawing, 1,000,000 pages. You just created a toy company instead.
Yeah, it's all you got to do is spend tens of thousands of dollars to avoid drawing an entire comic book.
Yeah, I mean, there's the easy way and there's the hard way.
Original ideas do not steal. This is Adam Blaster. No relation to Adam Strange, even though he has a jetpack and looks very similar to the DC character Adam Strange. No relation. The last
I'm print screening all of this.
Do not steal. Original.
Already stolen. We already copyrighted it.
Verbal copyright.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I would do. I mean, and honestly, it's the kind of thing that I feel like even Boss Fight Studios right now, their whole line of Vitruvian hacks, they started from a place of wanting to create this line of action figures that was modular, interchangeable, had all these parts that can be used between figures. I think we lost Jesse again.
Yeah.
And a storyline that went across all of this stuff that had time travel, but where they could mix different elements. So they started off with these sort of Spartans and Gorgons, and then they've moved on to, more of a fantasy type thing, Lord of the Rings, D&D type of thing. Put a pin in that. And then after that, they're going on to future, sci-fi, space, that kind of stuff. So the idea is that they're going to have this, diverse type of, characters where you can have an intermingling of the jetpack space hero with the Medusa sort of Gorgon, with the Spartan, you can put all this stuff together because as kids, playing with action figures and reading comics and drawing your own stuff, you do just mash all those ideas together constantly. And that's what I see you doing, Jesse. Is
what scale?
6 inch, the only scale that matters.
No.
Where's that shirt?
Yeah. It's not true. I collect plenty of 4-inch stuff as well. 6 is just where it's at right now. I spent the first half of my collector life collecting 4-inch. Now it's all 6-inch and up. But that's what I would do. I would pull 5-6 characters. It's probably a ninja, space guy, the gun guy, the strong guy, the cool guy leader, whatever. Just put all those guys together and then, just build from there and just keep mining ideas that there's hundreds of different characters. I'm gesturing to a file cabinet that you can't see off screen, so I know that's helpful. And just keep mining that for character designs and building on the story same way Jesse's doing.
Yeah, I think not to derail this too much, but I think part of what I loved about toys in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, was unsophistication. Right? You had a lot of toys that were not on model. You had a lot of looks like lines that were just rip-offs of, Remco versus G.I. Joe. There was this unsophistication where anything went. It was the Wild West, and you got all these weird and bizarre characters that make sense, shouldn't exist. And, I think that all of my contemporary character designs are always lacking, where I find such amazing originality, Rocketeer notwithstanding, of my early character designs, because I was, your brain's not fully formed. You're literally, it's a type of insanity.
Some would say that it's still not.
Yeah, I don't think I've created anything better than those initial characters.
Yeah, the first character I ever created was it was basically from the neck down. He was the Punisher, like same costume and everything. He had a katana and a backpack on top of that, and then from the neck up, he was basically like Snake Eyes. So it was like, whatever. Yeah. And then after that, it was like, okay, I understand now, like creating original characters and how to, not just steal something from somebody else. You got to change it a little. I mean, everything's been done. Everything will be done again at some point. So you got to, put your own sort of experience and likes and dislikes into that sort of thing. So, when I've obviously people asked that question before, what would you make the action figure line about? It's like, I'd make it about everything. Like nothing would be out of bounds.
Yeah, I think people want to hear that you would like make Toy Galaxy action figure, it would be like Dan with like a background of shelves and a little stool and stuff.
Nobody
And
wants
like,
that.
that's not
Nobody wants
really.
that. Nobody wants that. I don't want that.
If you had the chance, if you had this sort of once in a lifetime shot, why would you go? Why would you say I'm going to make an action figure of myself and where we shoot my internet? Like,
Hey, look, we're gonna start
take the
a
shot.
we'll start a pre-order. We'll start a pre-order list, and we get enough buyers in on that. We'll go ahead and do it. I don't care. Anybody wants it, we'll make it.
The market has.
No, I would probably. Yeah, it's just the fun stuff. It's the same stuff that I keep buying over and over and over again. Properties that already exist. That's the stuff that I would want to make.
Skulls, jetpacks, swords.
You know it. You know it.
I know. I've heard it a million times.
Yep. Yep. Guys who can put on seatbelts even though they're not in a vehicle. Like the seatbelts are just part of their outfit. That kind of stuff. Safety first.
River asked me if I like Slumber Party Massacre. Yes, I do. It's a good movie, and I recommend it.
Greg, you just watched.
I know it's a hobby.
Greg, you just mentioned a movie on Twitter, I think yesterday. You said it was your favorite movie of the year so far?
Favorite movie of the year so far, yeah.
Said it was very gory.
Yeah, extremely gory.
And Russian.
Yeah, it's Russian, but it was really good. Really funny.
What was the name of that movie?
Why Don't You Just Die? I liked it quite a bit. I've been waiting for it for a while. It was shot in 2018, so it took a while to get over here.
Jesse, were you going to say something?
Oh, I believe that's a Tyler Perry production.
It is not.
Oh, I'm thinking of something else.
Yeah.
You're thinking of Boo 2, Medea Halloween.
But I recommend it. It's available right now on like most of the on-demand services. Why Don't You Just Die? It's funny. It's gory. It's a black comedy. It's a single location for the most part. I loved it.
I was trying to watch today the Wachowskis Speed Racer, and I've never dabbled with eugenics or LSD like that, and I don't.
Same.
Because that movie is it is celluloid LSD. It is. It is staggering. There is. I can't put words to it.
Time has been kind. Time has been kind to that movie, I think. There are a lot of people that have discovered it since it bombed.
Yeah.
Was one of the big bombs of the year, certainly of the last decade. And time has been kind to that movie.
It's a religious. I'm baffled, profoundly baffled by a lot of it. I remember I think I went to the theater and got up and left after the first, at that first like 10-minute intro.
Why do I feel like I ate too much cotton candy? I gotta get out of this theater.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll make it through the rest of the film. I think it is a profound new religion.
It is. It is a visually striking film, and it's not like anything else. So it really does take your brain a little bit of time to sort of adjust to what you're seeing and how it's being presented and how it looks and sounds. It's so different than anything else. It's definitely not. It's not even in my top 50 favorite movies of all time, but I do love it.
Yeah.
There's a profound psychosexual undercurrent to that film that it radicalizes you, and you start to understand the cleansing that needs to be.
I've always enjoyed that film, and it. I feel like the more I play Rocket League, the more that film makes sense to me.
Oh, Rocket League.
I'm really good. I'm getting platinum ranks now.
Look at you. See, it's such a fun... I love playing it, and I just cannot compete with people.
My only goal is to be good enough to beat my nephew. That's it. I've been training for like a year now. I don't even think he plays anymore.
I don't have time for children's games like Rocket League. I devote my life to the skills that will help me persevere in the apocalypse.
So does Dan. That's why he plays a lot of Rocket League.
Yeah, I mean, we may be using cars to move giant balls around, no question there. But I dedicated myself to, being an airsoft first responder and playing Modern Warfare Warzone. These are things that will carry me in this next dark chapter of.
Speaking of dark chapters, have you paid your electric bill recently? It's kind of dark there.
No, we are in an undisclosed mountain location. I don't want to say subterranean because that may give it away, but yeah, it's a little, I like the boudoir to like it is on my inside.
Yeah, no, it's subterranean has such negative connotations that contextually you're like, there's good subterranean, there's bad subterranean. It's the good type.
Yeah, I don't want to. I'm not a supervillain. I don't know why. I'm not sure why that's coming from the chat. I'm not. I'm the good guy. I'm the hero of myself.
Dan, we got a comment in the chat from Chris Larson. They are waiting for you. So.
You have to join another chat.
I think he means for Rocket League.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure if I'd missed one of those familial obligations.
No. I think he's referring to your nephews.
I gotcha. I see him on all the time. He's always playing that in Minecraft.
I love Minecraft.
I don't get it.
It's basically the only game I play at this point.
It's good. It's good. You gotta. I mean, if you play it right, it's good.
That's another. That is a good tutorial for what comes next. This next dark chapter.
It's good practice.
We'll need to
cutting up squares of ground and piling them on top of each other.
Yeah. Why play D&D when we can just put together a a Minecraft server and just play Minecraft?
Hey, speaking of D&D, let's speak of D&D. Does anybody know a DM?
I used to DM for my group back when.
Yeah, I did too. Terribly.
When I had a group, but yeah, I don't know. We should definitely do some perusing for sure. I mean, I know DMs with time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So.
And that would be comfortable doing it remotely.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of campaigns taking place remotely right now. I've always loved it. Never been able to play as much. Definitely something I'd love to get back into.
I tried DMing once. I spent a lot of time writing a Dune module scenario because the old Dune books are really hard to track down, and I coerced through the promise of drugs and alcohol, vagrants really, and they didn't want to hear about mentats or yom gabars. It was a disaster. I couldn't get anyone.
Now, what you can see there when Jesse looks off to the side is him looking at the script that he pre-wrote for this entire stream. It's just like a branching narrative that he
right,
sort of
which bullet
worked out all the possibilities and just wrote these screeds beforehand.
Scroll quicker. In the final march, the Death March, your toys will be traded in, and you'll be given a shovel.
Jesse, you're one of the people that I see the most pop up on Instagram, taking advantage of the live feature. Usually it's karaoke.
Yes.
Is that a market you're looking to corner? The Instagram live
Instagram karaoke.
It's become a sort of sadistic pleasure to see how quickly I can clear the room, and most people don't last very long at all. And I don't.
You want to see the number goes up, number goes down.
Yeah.
He loves the adrenaline rush.
I'll oftentimes end the stream and start it back up just so people are getting new notifications and come back in, and then instantly drop off. Much like watching Speed Racer, I don't have words to really describe what I am doing on Instagram karaoke games. It is deeply sexual. It is artistic expression.
It is
the only
radicalizing.
exercise I get. It will radicalize you into my new religion of hate. But I like to sing songs. I don't have to be good. I just like to do it. I guess it's. I got a pair of leather pants when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
This is around the time when Antichrist Superstar came out. So I would just I would steal black lights from my job at Party City and put on little concerts by myself in my childhood bedroom, listening to Marilyn Manson and wearing leather pants. And I guess that this is the present day version of that. It's not really for anyone else, but I don't feel like I try hard enough. It's just me.
Trying to think what I was doing at 16. A lot of Monopoly, I think. I don't remember. No, very little leather pants. I know that.
Yeah, I've never owned leather pants. Nor will I.
Not until you join the movement.
Yeah, once you're in the religion of death, you're not going to have a choice. But you will make your own. You're going to
part of the
fashion your
uniform.
own. I'm going to teach you how to tan leather, how to clean a carcass.
It's gonna have a real Fury Road kind of feel. It'll be.
Yeah, my one issue with the Instagram live stuff is, I've logged on, I've seen you either doing karaoke, packing boxes, a couple other things. There was one time I don't think you realized you were live. That was awkward. But
Yeah.
I did give you a smiley face regardless. But it's tough because when there are so few people on, it's like, he's going to notice that I was only there for 30 seconds. And that's
I
weird.
do. I have a bot that tracks everybody. When the cullings happen, joke, if they happen, maybe there's a hit list, parody,
It is weird though that your name does pop up when you join someone's Instagram live stream. I was like, oh, why does it do that? It's a little weird. It's a little weird. A little public.
Yeah, but then you feel obligated.
Yeah, it's like, I can't pop in and out.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you click on the stories, it'll automatic. If you're going through the stories, it just puts you right in there. And it's like, I didn't even know I was following that person. They're gonna see.
Yeah.
I'm one of two people in here.
I think it rounds down to decimal points, because I think when there's one viewer, I'm almost sure it's 100.
Probably.
They're just like they're grading on a curve. I think.
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I think that's how computers work in general,
Yeah,
right?
YouTube doesn't even show zeros anymore. It's all Ks. Everything's Ks.
Every video, 10,000, 10K.
10K.
Well, I commend your embracement of that medium of communication with your fans. I've yet to take advantage of it because I just don't know where the line is as far as like, do people want to see me taking pictures of Boba Fett? Do people want to see me going through my action figures?
And I keep telling you, yes, they do.
Taking them off this shelf and putting them on that shelf,
Yeah, I think you have a good balance. I think also, I think you have a healthy balance. At least it seems that way outside looking in.
It's not healthy.
Okay. I think I sort of like binge and purge in terms of interactions. Like I genuinely like. They're hugely creative and constructive, and like I work all day long on this stuff, so it's nice to get eyeballs on it and get people that you admire to share their thoughts on it. But then I sort of just drop off the face of the earth for 3 days. I don't even want to pick up my phone. None of us no humans have had to deal with this kind of problems ever before, and our minds are not evolved to like know what the right way to. I mean, if you think of our biology, we're not even fully evolved to deal with not running all day long chasing food. It's taken that many thousands of years. We're still not like optimal for that. Then you throw in this digital age, and it's like our bodies and brains will never catch up unless the great singularity bathes us all.
Yeah, but before then, so there's the struggle with, do you prepare a bit? Like for this live stream, for instance. I know you didn't prepare anything for this. I know you well enough to know that you're just being you. But it's like, do you prepare a bit? Am I doing this with a purpose? Am I trying to entertain? Or is it just like, here we go, slice of life. Let's you know.
If I prepared anything, it would feel like a job. So I don't, and I mean, what that leads to is people click on the live button thinking, oh, he's packing up my orders, and it's me screaming Nine Inch Nails with my shirt off, with disco lights. It's a roll of the dice. It's Russian roulette. I'm not going to apologize to your son. He shouldn't be crying. He needs to.
Yeah.
So I guess what we're all wondering then is, Dave, Dan, any future karaoke Instagram live streams?
Please.
Yeah, I've never live streamed on my Instagram either.
Any particular reason why? Just never.
I don't know. It's that weird thing of I like how, I mean, obviously I've YouTube live streamed because I like the idea that it archives in a way that people can go back and enjoy it, and I like the more long form aspect of it. But I'm trying to think. You know what? When Twitter, I don't know if it was Twitter or not, but when Periscope came out.
Oh God.
Yeah, dating myself with that, which is really not that long ago. I did do some Periscopes behind the scenes stuff when I was like prepping, like setting up to shoot something or capturing gameplay footage. I was like, I gotta capture this footage anyway. Let me just set up the Periscope and just let it run. And I was like, oh, well, some people are here. That's cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely a medium that is used differently by different people. I know Noptop, he's done some experimentation with it.
Yeah, that's been one of my main complaints, and Greg's tried to urge me to take advantage of those mediums more than I do, certainly at shows and stuff. But I don't like the idea of producing any kind of content that doesn't last. There's definitely that part where I feel like I have to have something ready to go, something to sell, to show, a moment, entertainment, whatever, as opposed to just like nothing. This may be a thing where nothing happens,
Yeah, that's why I almost never post an Instagram story, because they go away. And I guess
you can still bring them back as highlights.
Right. Unless you publicly.
And that's the only reason I use them, is because I realized you could do that.
Mm-hmm.
I hate the idea of this. I hate the idea of the non-permanence of those live things.
Oh no, that's the best part. That's the appeal. I think we're too much of a permanent culture, and I
agree.
Patrons ask for downloads of the karaoke live stream for some reason. It's the foreign. It's not the domestic. But no, I also like the way Knights of the Slice is constructed. I have never put together a cohesive list of what's what. There are variants, discrepancies, things like that exist. I have no interest whatsoever in making it cohesive or permanent or something that people can't puzzle over or try to chase down. I think that we're far too permanent of a culture. A guy hugs one teacher in college, and suddenly he's got to introduce himself to his neighbors. Not fair, I say, wasn't it? And I like that it just becomes vapor. If you weren't there, if you didn't catch it that second, who knows?
Well, sure, and that's the design, sort of the intent behind it, is when that live thing pops up, get on it, be a part of it.
Yeah, I think so. It's nice to have things like that. It's like all those stories about Bill Murray, in Manhattan, just like walking into people's weddings, into people's karaoke rooms, or going up behind him and covering their eyes and saying no one's going to believe you, and then running away. Those are the far more interesting things than the stuff that's on demand that you, like the Wachowski's Speed Racer film.
It all comes back. Speed Racer.
It all comes back to the middle of the stream.
As you do.
Any good comedy winds up in the middle.
So we just do this till one of us dies, or all three of us?
I think so. You've died the most, though. in the stream. You've disappeared the
I
most.
have. It's, you're 500 feet underground in a cement bunker.
It'll happen.
The Wi-Fi going.
Yeah, you've lasted the longest of our guests so far, so congratulations.
That's true.
Well, but Dave is also our guest, and he's still here.
That's true.
He's not really a guest anymore, though.
Yeah, I'm just one of the team. When you got a Jackie Chan sitting on a.
To be fair to Jesse, though, he was on standby. He was part of the Alert 5 the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I got bumped yet again by my Hollywood nemesis, Griffin.
Also, props to Jesse. He's the only one that's been standing this entire time.
Yeah.
Well,
I assume that's why he asked. Weak knees.
I do not yet have a name for my martial arts, but the training of it has allowed me to do this, and I have been balancing.
Did you say you've been on skates this entire time? Is that what you said?
No, 1 foot.
Oh, okay.
The rollerblades come.
It's that slight wobble.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's time to probably wrap up.
Probably.
Yeah.
Unless anybody has any more questions about Ghostbusters.
No.
How dare you? How dare. Knob Top, quick, before I see your back. Give me something. Keep it alive.
All right. Well, thank you very much to Jesse DeStasio. Jesse, what are your websites you want to plug here?
Oh, sure. The most important one is patreon.com/Jesse DeStasio, JESSEASIO. Toypizza.com is my e-commerce. And also look up Knights of the Slice on Facebook. We have a really tremendous there. Mosey on in and see the sites. And then toygalaxy.com, my favorite.
That's not us. Don't
I
go
don't
to
know.
toygalaxy.com. That's not us.
Whoops.
Wait, what is your URL?
We don't have one.
We don't really have one.
Really?
Yeah.
You
We
go-
live in
I
the
think we
future,
have
baby.
You Google
No,
it.
we have a Squarespace site somewhere.
No, we don't.
I thought we did. Did we temporarily?
We did.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, go to toygalaxy.com, everybody. You heard it.
Yeah, go to Toy Galaxy.
You heard it here.
Buy some toys out of the UK.
Google it.
I think that's what's there. Dave, thank you very much for hanging out.
Of course. Anytime, gentlemen. Anytime.
What are your sites?
Check easiest. Just go to GameDave.com because that does actually go directly to my YouTube channel. Or you can go to NostalgiaVision.com or FamiCorner.com. They all go to my YouTube channel, legit.
Feel free to cut this up and do Jackie Chan on video. You need to.
Definitely. Love that figure.
All
All right,
well,
everybody.
thank you for
All right,
chat,
guys,
for hanging out and talking and
See you at
asking
the
questions.
karaoke-
Check you later.
at the karaoke live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yes, it's been fun.